on this computer.
Cool, let's see if I can still share. You see my screen?
Yep.
Let me try it again, actually. I want to do something different. Okay. All right, so let's see. We're about 3 minutes in. We're still waiting on a couple people. I can just do a little bit of quick update. So I'm really excited. So Mili's here. You can see her there in the video. We've got some folks from different community projects. We've got some Galoy engineers and some of the Galoy team on the call. So as many of you know, sort of the merchant experience is something that we've all been thinking about and working on. There's actually been two developments that I think are really exciting to bring forward, and our team has been doing some thinking as well. And so there's really three agenda items for today. The first one is the Lightning Cash Register, which is an experience that Mili's been designing around the idea of POS for merchants. And then I see Fabian. Are you here? Are you the person behind multi-currency POS?
Yes.
All right, cool. We've got Fabian here as well. And so if anybody's
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, and so all of us have probably seen by now, but the Bitcoin Lake team with FaBu and Patrick have released a really cool app that allows people to pay via any currency to set their unit of account from any currency. And so I'd love Fabian to walk us through that. It also aligns with something that our team has been thinking a lot about and has been people have been asking about, from Fernando down in Brazil and Ekasi Herman down in South Africa, which is this multi-currency support. And so our team has been doing some thinking, and that'll be the third item if we can get to it. But that's definitely something that is on our minds to really get into the Galoy stack as well. So.
I just want to be clear. All I had was a problem, and Fabian, all I did is have him come up and he fixed it. So it's all on him. So kudos to him. I don't get any credit here, just for the fact that I had him at Bitcoin Lake. That's it.
Sure. I mean, that's yeah. Everybody on this call is doing things to help bring Lightning forward. So I appreciate all of you guys. Any questions before we hop in? All right. With that, I'll turn it over to Mili. She can take control of the screen. She's got a Figma. Maybe we can I'll post that in the chat so anybody can hop into Figma themselves and follow her for a snappier screen, and she can walk through a little bit of the thinking she's done from the sort of the merchant side of the experience for receiving Bitcoin.
All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So, I mean, most of the people here believe they could be aware of the context, but I'm just going to go through a first project context about the user and then the kind of feedback I'm looking for. So you guys can give us feedback that is appropriate to the state of the project. So right now, the user of Galoy wallets, mainly Bitcoin Beach wallet, can accept payment through a web app run by the Galoy Pay repository. And it looks a little something like this, as you can see. That page is available in the settings of the Bitcoin Beach wallet, and it's available automatically to anyone that has an account there. Now, there's a need that has been identified to provide just a simpler user experience for merchants who want to accept Lightning. The main need is to allow the business owner to share a page where its employees can collect payments on his behalf without needing to share his personal Bitcoin Beach wallet account. And also right now, to create one-time invoices with an amount is currently the most interoperable way to accept Bitcoin versus using a printed QR code, for example. And then of course, there's this longer term consideration. Galoy wants to build that POS system for other types of consumers, such as larger businesses like grocery or restaurant, having, for example, multiple level of permission, like the boss could be the only one that has access to all the revenue that is in there, link multiple cash register or terminal printer, etc. Now about the user, I asked some question from the Bitcoin Beach Wallet team and also in the Bitcoin Design community from people who have visited El Salvador. So the experience that is designed for right now, it's for small businesses like 2-3 person family business, vendors on the street, or such as tiendas, small neighborhood shops. The business environment is either in person or online. Usually the family business uses one device for receiving Bitcoin, and there's a lot of phone sharing going on. So this is one part of the problem that we're trying to solve. And also many merchants in Lanzarote use printed QR codes, but then that creates the interoperability issue. People are using Bitcoin Beach Wallet, but people have no use or not aware of the tipping page itself. Maybe it's a branding problem at the same time because tipping is not part of the culture in Salvador. Tipping will be more functionality for a restaurant. Let's say if they want for some reason separate the tip from the bill, but usually the tip is included in the bill. To compute an invoice amount, usually this small shop either do it mentally or use a calculator, mostly a physical one, sometimes the phone calculator, and then they enter the amount in the wallet. Like I said, not common to split bills. Most of businesses have smartphones and cell phones. Internet coverage is fairly good, but I did hear from people going to El Salvador that internet connection was an issue. And in some cases, there will be people to educate them regarding this Lightning Cash Register, but we need to build an experience that is good enough to figure out on their own. And then we're looking for feedback on the following. Is the UX clear? Is it logical? Feedback regarding the copy. Can we simplify it? Is there something that is unclear? The layout of things, are there certain information or CTA that should be placed elsewhere? And of course, any technical challenge to implement the design. Okay, now I'm gonna go on to Figma, and you can guys follow me around if you want to. So the way I was imagining this is once the feature is launched to everybody, so when someone opens their Bitcoin Beach wallet, there will be a little modal that says payment can now be collected on your behalf with your Bitcoin Beach Cash Register. I then explain by sharing your Bitcoin Beach Cash Register to link to someone, you can receive money directly to your Bitcoin wallet without needing your own phone. And then they can either share automatically the link or they want to see how. If they click see how, then we explain to them, you share your link to someone, and then they have the option to share or to copy. Then it will be a card that would just swipe, and then it will mention the person can use the link to generate Lightning invoices without needing to have access to your wallet. And then we also mention it can even be pinned to their home screen for easier access. And then the third one would be mentioning to them that the payments collected using your link will be sent directly to your Bitcoin Beach Bitcoin wallet. And if, for example, they click X for some reason because they don't want to see the message, the notification here will pop up at the top of the wallet. And if they click see how, then it will go back to this. And of course, on every modal, I've put the link to share so they don't have to swipe through cards to access it. And we mentioned that it's available for settings. And it will look something like this. In settings right now, it looks something like this. So here, your Bitcoin Beach Cash Register, and then they have the link and they can share and copy. Once they click share, it will be the traditional sharing UX that we are used to with phones. So let's say this person shares to Daniela Flores. I'm sorry, guys, I use Spanish names, but I thought I was putting myself in Bitcoin Beach shoes, I guess. And then it will have a pop-up a message that will automatically fill in. I'm sharing with you my online cash register so you can generate Lightning invoices and collect payment on my behalf. You can also pin the link to your home screen so it's easily accessible. We have the link. And then the person can continue filling the message if they want to add something like personal to them. They send it. Now, Daniela Flores has sent it. No, sorry, Sofia Martinez has sent it to Daniela Flores. And then they will have a meta image of the cash register, so they have an idea what it is. Then Daniela Flores gets the notification that she got the message. She sees in the message, and then she can click on the link here to Sofia Martinez Bitcoin Beach wallet cash register. And then we fall into this, and that will be the most basic Lightning cash register. So we have the name to who it belongs to. We have the option to pin it to a home screen. And then, of course, here, once they enter the amount, they can create a Lightning invoice. So if they want to pin it to home screen, if they are on iPhone, on iOS, then we give them a set of instruction how to add it to home screen. Right now on iOS, we cannot like just have a button and like pin it automatically. That's unfortunately not possible. If they are on Android, then we have the option of adding it just with a button. And I've been speaking with a developer, and it seems that it will be possible to detect if the person is on iOS or Android. So the page will change depending on which type of phone they are. And then it pins it to their home screen with the little image of Galoy. I thought maybe like have the initial of the name, or maybe something like that. We'll see. So there is still, let's say they click again on the cash register. And I have also made another option where it will be a sort of calculator. So they could like compute equal, and let's say it's like 50 sats, and then they can create a Lightning invoice. And of course we can change the currency either in USD or sats. The person that will receive the money, it will be in Bitcoin, but it's just sometimes easier just to enter the USD amount and see how much it's worth in sats. And then let's say they have $50 US, the current Lightning invoice, and then it's the traditional Lightning invoice. We have the amount, a number of sats, how much time it will expire. They have the option to copy or to share. This layout is quite similar to Bitcoin Beach Wallet, so I think it would be good if we stick on that. And then the client scan to the invoice to pay. And then it tells them the invoice has been paid, and it can go back to the cash register. They can also send a receipt if they wanted to. So it will be the same process. They click send a receipt. They can share with a message, mail, or whatever the clients give them. And then the receipt will be a filled-in message automatically, and they can just click send and to send it to the client. If in case there's an internet problem or the invoice expires, then it will give them the message that please try again and generate a new invoice, and it will be the same amount that they computed earlier, so they avoid having to redo the whole operation. So, but if they click back to cash register, that will give them completely back to the cash register. And that's it. I hope I wasn't too fast. If something's unclear, please let me know.
I appreciate the speed, being somebody who tried to jam a couple things into the agenda. I would just like to say, like, I'm super excited about this because of the idea that, like, it's one thing to have the feature, like the POS or the number pad. It's another thing to have the experience around it, right? Because you're not always going to have an individual showing you how this stuff works. So I thought it was really nice that you like designed step by step, all like a way that somebody could onboard themselves to this. But yeah, anybody, please, initial thoughts, comments.
Hey, this is Steven. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hi, Siren.
Hey there. So apologies. I think I was a little distracted when you started explaining from the beginning screen there. And I've had my connection drop out. So one thing before I forget, would you mind sharing the Figma link again?
Sure.
And I can put it in the Slack thread too that you got going on in the merchants channel. Apparently Zoom is a little ephemeral, but yeah, I was just curious, what was the exact, like how was the user starting off here? So like, I know you mentioned that they don't have their own device. So like, are they sharing this device when they begin this user flow?
No, so how it begins is, for example, I'm an owner of a small business. I have 3 people working under me. When I go to my Bitcoin Beach wallet, I see this message popping telling me that I have a cash register link that I can share with my employees. So it's the owner of the business. Yeah.
Got it. And then the owner can distribute that link amongst all their employees, and then the employees can use the cash register functionality without having, you know, the ability to spend the owner's funds.
Yeah.
Is that, got it? Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
I thought it's very well thought out. I was curious when the instructions for pinning it to the home screen would come, and I think they came just at the right time. I think it's also very convenient that there's a button that can just do it, and also additional instructions to do it, how to do it if I don't want to do it right now. Are these accessible if I don't want to do it the first time I bring this on, or does this button pin to home screen disappear once it's pinned, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, I didn't imagine that it will be disappearing just because someone can share it with multiple people. And I'm not sure how it would work on a technical perspective. I didn't have the answer to that yet. I didn't ask either. My first intuition, it will be like there all times. And especially if, for example, they change phone for some reason, you know.
I'd love to get a. Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I just wanted to ask, maybe I didn't get this part. I really like it, Mili. I think it's a game changer. Just one question, for example, the waiters in a restaurant, do they also need to have the Bitcoin Beach wallet app in their phones, or the owner can just share them the link without them having the app?
They can share them the link without having the app.
Okay, then yeah, that's even better. Really good.
Everyone who has a Bitcoin Beach wallet account,
I just have a comment.
can actually share their own cash register with either employees or family members or friends to collect money on their behalf.
Yep, Patrick.
Yeah, question, and I don't want to divert from the great work here, but just kind of thinking outside the box a little bit for like a true POS system. Is there any plan or thought about, you know, a true POS system? Like if you walk into a restaurant, you know, you can click, you know, the chicken Alfredo or, you know, chicken Parmesan, rather than entering the actual amount, so that if it's a small restaurant, they could easily have all of their items on the POS system. And maybe if it's a small shop or a small tienda, they might actually have some sort of inventory management so that, you know, someone buys a cola or a water, then, you know, they're not having to actually enter the dollar amount. It automatically calculates, you know, the markup and all that. So is there any thought for that sort of interface?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so before I began that project, like I asked all these questions to Andrew to understand a little bit like the longer term vision. That is just really like a MVP just to have something like quick and easy to use. But of course, I believe that that's Galoy's plan to build a real POS system. We just didn't get there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, amen to that. I think that the possibilities are big and endless, and there's a lot of smart people. It's an open source project, so I think I'm personally excited about like the folks that are on this call and the extension of folks in Bitcoin design and the community projects and the folks at Galoy really requesting what are the most important things, and kind of shaping the way that this gets sort of built and rolled out. Patrick, you probably recognize like Mili's problem statement from slide 1 when she opened this up, because I think this was something that you faced, FaBu's been working on. So yeah, long story short, I think that's absolutely a path we want to go down in the medium to longer term after we get this up.
Just out of curiosity, this isn't directly related to anything I'm seeing in the UI design here, but like, so if the owner has a cash register and that goes to their Bitcoin Beach wallet, the funds ultimately go there. Is it more common for people to have, say, like just one Bitcoin Beach wallet that like represents them personally and their business, or would they have two, like one for their family and one for their business? Do we have any like details or stats about that?
Or maybe I can go. From my understanding, like it was the same when they manage a business. It was the same account as their personal one for Bitcoin Beach. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Daniela, you can expand on that if you have data on that.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, just would someone using the Bitcoin Beach wallet, if they're going to use the cash register feature, would it be more common for them to say have one Bitcoin wallet for their family and one for their company, or would that all just be the same wallet?
I mean, I think if it's a small business, they would have the same, but something bigger, they would prefer to have them separate because they have more financial education and they want to keep things separately. But it would be really common to small businesses and simpler for them because they're easier to understand to have it in only one wallet. Javi or Gabi, if you have some comment on that.
No, I agree with Daniela's comments right now. The behavior that we see, well, when we have the opportunity to see how people are behaving with the app is accordingly to if they receive like a big amount of income, they use like a separately wallet from their own. So it's like really regular to see that behavior in small businesses or people who are starting their business and they have low incomes.
Got it. Thanks. Yeah, the reason I brought that topic up is it occurred to me that for people who might be running a small business and their family's finances and their business finances are tied in together, it might be really helpful in the Bitcoin Beach wallet itself if there was like something in the UI that indicated when a transaction was like coming through the cash register, like, I don't know, a different icon or a different color or some other data in the memo or something. So that way when they're scanning it at a glance, they can kind of see which ones are coming from the cash register.
It's true that I didn't design that part. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think one of the limitations is, you're linking the wallet to your phone. It would be nice if there were like Blue Wallet, you have the ability to set up multiple wallets under the same registration, and that would probably fulfill that requirement.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be actually a really amazing feature. So the user can select the different wallets that they have under the app.
I have a question. this feature is gonna be available from every people who download the app, or it's a different kind of feature if, for example, I'm a merchant, because I'm thinking in the experience of the end user. For example, if I'm using it to, like, I'm not a small businesses, obviously I'm not gonna use the feature. So it will be nice if we have our app to recognize, so we know that all the merchants can have this feature.
I think this is a little bit of an extension of what today is the tipping page, right? Which you see some people using just to receive sats, like they put in their Twitter bio, right? And so if I understood correctly, Gabriela, the comment was like, do we need to have recognized, like, only show this to merchants in the app, or show it to everybody? And I think showing it to everybody is appropriate, but I guess I have maybe a question, which is, and I'd love to get like maybe quick feedback from folks, like the name cash register, we've been kicking it around, we've used it. I love like gut reactions. Love it, don't love it, not sure yet. Like, because you know, it's new to me. So I don't want to share my thoughts on it.
There's a comment from Mike Peterson in the chat. He says, I think when we add the dollar option, it will be much more likely that people will want to be able to have separate wallets, maybe one that auto converts to dollars that they use in their business, and the different one that they use for personal that they want to hold in Bitcoin. Yeah, I think like one way to solve basically business transactions, to separate business transactions from personal ones very easily could be through memo. I think BTC Pay Server does that. For every store you see where it's paid to. Maybe we could have something for each person that the link is shared to. So maybe if I share it with Sofia Flores, I will see that the transaction came from her cash register. That would be quite interesting to know. And to the point whether it should be available to merchants only or to regular users as well. I think there is, like Andrew hinted at, it's basically an extension of the tipping page, and it can be used in also different ways. One that I could think of is, imagine elder mother in El Salvador having Bitcoin Beach wallet. She could share her tipping link or her cash register link with her son who's living and working in the United States, and he could pin it to his home screen and send easily money to her mother, to his mother, for example, with the cash register. So, but he obviously could do it as well with their username. But yeah, I think there could be different opportunities for not just for merchants as well.
I'm just going to push back a little bit on the note thing. You know, right now as a business owner, if you have a business credit card and a personal credit card, if you, for some reason, you only have your business card with you and you do a personal expense on it, then, you know, it's the onus is on you when the statement comes through to make sure that you deduct that personal expense from the business account. And we're not making that experience any better here. We're basically duplicating it with that the option of writing a note. You're still going to have to go through and audit all of those transactions to separate them out. I mean, I think that if we want a better experience that's better than what we currently have, you know, maybe we swipe left or right, and when we swipe right, we get a bright green wallet for a personal wallet. If we swipe left, we get a bright orange wallet for the business wallet, and that way we basically have two quote unquote credit cards at our disposal, but the transactions are immediately separated. So I would favor just having a completely user experience than what we have in the analog world right now. And I think writing a note is just too analog like.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Node basically helps with separating out the transactions, but it's maybe not practical for every use case. But if you, for example, download the CSV file of what transactions came and where they came from, you can identify them. If you want,
Kamal, but understood. But we're dealing with the audience, customer base that, you know, the educational hurdle to teach them how to use this, and then to have to download a CSV file to, you know, audit their transactions. We should take that hurdle factor out, and if we can make it easy through the app, then we should do it. I mean, that would be. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just got to make this simple if we're going to go down that route.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm gonna I guess two things. The multiple wallets idea is larger than the scope of this. It's of extremely valid feedback, and so that, I mean, that's why we're here, is to collect all this feedback. So I want to sort of do two things. I want to first of all do a time check and capture a little bit more feedback around here before we move on to FaBu and the work that he's been doing. And secondarily, you see a lot of people in the Figma link. So I believe we all have the Figma link. And so if you press the C, you can see this, like Steven's adding comments in here. If you press the C key on your keyboard, you have the ability to add feedback or comments directly into the board. So, thank you, Patrick, for that. And I would agree that you know, this needs to be simple. The idea of simplicity in separating business income from sort of personal expense or personal income is important. So, thanks.
All right. Should we move to FaBu then, Andrew?
I think so. I'll sort of open it up for anything about sort of this experience that you know, anybody wanted to mention but wasn't able to discuss yet. I'll open that up for about, you know, a minute or two.
The overall experience made sense to me. Great work, Mili, and I'm just, you know, I'll leave nitpicky notes throughout the Figma document.
Good. Thank you, Steven.
Awesome. FaBu, are you there? And would you be willing to take over the screen share and sort of talk us through some of the work that you recently launched?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here. So I tried to share because my internet connection is somewhat, yeah, not too good. Let's try. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I think Patrick told some story about this project. What we try to do is just deliver POS for the users at Lago Bitcoin. Because I went there and I saw that it's a big issue for them always to calculate and everything. So I tried to make a little POS, and I think it's a workaround until Bitcoin Beach wallet will be able to do that. But yeah, it's just a workaround. But I think it has some value there. So you can do, every Bitcoin Beach wallet user can use this. You can type in your username here, or you can also make a link. I will show that to you. So you can, I use my username, and then this little POS starts up. It automatically gets the country you're in. I'm in Guatemala right now. But if I change to another country, it takes the currency of the country you're in. So if I'm in El Salvador, it should take US dollars as a default currency. And then what I do, I just type in the amount in quetzales, and then I create the invoice, and that's basically it. I can copy it, I can scan it, I see the amounts in sats. If I pay it, it's this green sign you can see, and also in the Bitcoin Beach wallet. Yeah, thank you for this. Yeah, that's basically it. So it's a little help for the merchants. What we now did is distribute this link. You can see it here. You can just type in your username here, and then you have a direct access, so you don't have to type in again your username. And we provided this link as a QR code to the business owners, and they can, like a sticker, and they can put it in their shop, so their employees can scan this QR code and they get a direct link to this POS. That's what we did.
I really like, yeah.
Any additionals, Patrick?
No, it's fantastic. And I just want to say I am super proud of Fabian for doing this. And it's really made, I think, the experience for the end user and the merchant a lot easier for us. And I tweeted this out where I actually 3D printing the QR codes for these POS systems for each merchant, but just great work by Fabian. I'm just, yeah, kudos. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks. I hope it's a help, but I think so.
And he's very modest.
Yeah, I would just like to say I was a power user of this for a few days, and I mean, we were skipping GitHub issues. We were, right over Twitter, I was like submitting issues I was having, and FaBu was turning those around really quickly. So sort of as I mentioned at the top of the call, the sort of the second half of this call is really around. I mean, it's funny, the melding of the issues we're talking about today. One is POS, and then the other one is currency conversion. So this is a super cool and easy experience. I'd be curious from some of the folks in the Galoy team. Do you have any questions for FaBu or maybe Mili, like anything here that like the way that you've been thinking about it? Because I think naturally the cash register, like there's a feature here for the cash register as well. So I just wanted to get this group together to talk a little bit about, understanding how FaBu did this and or learning any lessons from what has happened so far on the ground from the team at Bitcoin Lake.
Mm-hmm. I really like the idea of like sharing a physical QR code and employees can just like scan that. I thought it was like really smart and like really in the physical space instead of just being digital. My only question is like, yes, it can hold, I mean, it cannot hold multiple currency, but it shows multiple currency. Do people maybe in Guatemala use different currency to receive Bitcoin, or they will use the Guatemala currency mainly because they are in Guatemala?
So no, I think they use the quetzales and maybe dollar. But the thing is, because I implemented this feature, as soon as we published it, there were some requests about Peru and
Okay,
Brazil
yeah.
and everything. So yeah, it was just easier to do all.
Of course.
Yeah.
And if someone like refreshes that page, will it keep like the currency that they put, or it will change?
I think to change back to quetzales.
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood. I didn't hear you.
It changed back to the default.
Okay, the default being the country's currency?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, which is maybe not perfect, but yeah, it was just an idea to do it like this.
Yeah, maybe the only thing I would add is like the ability to put a default currency and it always stay there until someone changes it. But at the same time, I understand why you put multiple currency, especially in open source project where everybody wants to use that, so.
Awesome.
Just tested on my end. Did it? Sorry. Do you want to go ahead, Andrew?
No, please, Steven, no, please.
Yeah, I'll say I just tested on my end. It worked really good. I sent a dollar USD over Lightning, so you should receive that. I uncovered some minor, like, little kind of UI hiccups when I was using it. I think I wasn't sure how to, like, get a memo or a description in there. So like when it showed up in my Lightning wallet, I didn't have like there's like no memo or description field filled in, so I don't really know who it was that I paid. And I went back in, like, tried to see, like, well, is that something that, like, the person who's creating the invoice needs to do? Did they need to type in, like, the description for what's being sold? And I ended up tapping that box at the top to see, oh, could I put a description in there? And then realizing, oh, wait, that's the number field, but I had already typed something. And then if you do that and then try to type a number in, it goes to, like, null, number. So I kind of broke it on accident. But if you have a GitHub repo, I can, like, file an issue for that. But it works. Otherwise than that, it worked very well. I typed in, yeah, my first invoice and sent some money very quickly. So it worked great.
And from what we've seen also, and Fabian, correct me if I'm wrong, but what's nice about this is you can use any wallet with this. It's not limited to the Bitcoin Beach wallet. You can use Moon or Blue Wallet or Wallet of Satoshi.
Okay, how do you link that from this UI to your Moon wallet, let's say? Is it very technical?
No, you create the QR code and you can use it with any Lightning wallet. It's not tied just to the Bitcoin Beach wallet.
Okay.
So you can pay.
To use,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, if I understood correctly, you can use any wallets to pay this, but my question was more like, if for example, I have Moon wallet and I want to receive payments from my behalf, I thought maybe it would be possible to link my Moon wallet.
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Because that was one of the issues is with when we were onboarding merchants, and if someone didn't have the Bitcoin Beach wallet and they were a tourist, from the US, and they couldn't access the Bitcoin Beach wallet and they were using Moon, generating an invoice within the Bitcoin Beach wallet sometimes creates conflict. And I'm not a techie. I don't remember which wallets work and all that stuff, but I remember it being kind of clunky. That's why we've gone through a lot of links of printing out QR codes that are compatible with most wallets. And this kind of does it all for us without having to do it. So it kind of removes a major roadblock for people that aren't using the Bitcoin Beach wallet.
Mm-hmm. Also, another thing, FaBu, like, since like a lot of country requested that this UI, maybe an option to change the language. I know it's pretty simple, but if someone from Australia wants to use this, or any country, Serbia, whatever.
Yes, could be implemented, but it's not yet done. But yeah, for sure.
Of course.
But there is no plan to do this right now. I think we need to see how much traction it really gets, and then we can think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, any other questions or comments for FaBu? The last item we have is to share some of the thoughts our team has had around multi-currency support, and once we move into there, we can see kind of move the discussion, but keep it on this currency area. Any other comments? All right, FaBu, thank you for this. Like, as you could tell from my my Twitter responses, it's really exciting to see this, and I know that it's cool to see merchants in Bitcoin Lake using this. So I'm going to bring up a GitHub issue. So I'm going to steal the screen back, and I'm going to invite Arvin to kind of walk through some of the notes that we've collected so far. Before we do that, I'll just do a quick tour of this. So we've been using, and I'll put this in chat. Actually, Mili, would you mind dropping this in the chat so I don't have to go looking for it? So we've been using GitHub discussions to kind of collect some input and feedback, and really have the team at Galoy and people in Bitcoin design and people who are curious or interested in building and seeing some the features evolve in the Galoy wallets, in this case, in Bitcoin Beach wallet. And so this is a discussion based around this issue of enabling display currencies other than USD. So you can kind of read through it on your own. I actually included a couple screenshots here of Moon, how they do it. And then you can see Sebastian over here mentioned, how about Euro? And to FaBu's point, the way that FaBu went, it was like one currency, two currency, all currencies. And so there is actually an issue on our GitHub that is, it's called display currency in every fiat currency. And we really wanted to take the last maybe 10 minutes or so here to kind of just share a little bit of the thinking we've done so far and the implications here. And then, the path forward is potentially, somebody from the community building this, potentially a bounty, potentially, the Galoy team, but really wanted to use this time to just, talk about some of the thinking around this. So Arvin, please, if you want to walk us through this a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Just confirming you guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, so before I even dive into this, I just wanted to comment on FaBu's solution. I think because we're an open source project, that's the exact kind of thing we're looking for. Just different people having different user stories and adding different things based on their unique needs, things that we probably won't see. There's an interesting thing that's coming up. It's not quite here yet, but we might have support in the app to be able to kind of hot swap different screens into the app. Like it's something that came up with Bitcoin Jungle's, I think, merchant map solution, and Nick, who's on the call, has been doing some interesting work around like just being able to pull in different features, like hot swap things and it's not close, but it's possible and it might happen eventually. So it's something that kind of helps to support, people scratching their own itch and making their own open source solutions and sticking them in. So I guess, okay, so moving on to this particular thing. So the difference with what we're thinking through here and what has been done already, for example, with the POS solution that FaBu did, is that that POS solution sort of attaches to like the shell, the outside of our system, and it converts things before they get into our system. So it's kind of like a filter. Like if somebody wants to generate, it's at the end of the day, they're still generating SATs invoices, but that POS is just helping them to convert to the correct amount of SATs before it gets into our system, which is useful to the user. It feels like, this is my native currency. But what we're looking to do is, I guess, pull that into the internals of the system. So it's kind of like having the accounting happen in multiple currencies as well, having like transactions be recorded and displayed in different currencies, having the send and receive natively support different currencies, and then having like balances and stuff reflect that. And there's a bit of there's more than a bit of technical work to be done to support that. We'd have to, I guess right now what we're doing is we're working through adding USD. Folks may or may not be aware, but we're adding USD as a second base currency in the system. So what that means is that it's, if you choose a USD, if you choose to hold your balance in USD, it actually stays stable as USD. It does not fluctuate. So we're thinking of it as almost like our system now has two base currencies. SATs is, Bitcoin is one base currency. USD is a second base currency. But then you can sort of display those two base amounts in whatever currency you're working with. So if you're in Guatemala and you have, a USD wallet and a Bitcoin wallet, and you want to see those both represented in Quetzales, you could do that. So I guess what we did here is kind of, we kind of scoped out where we are. It's very technical, so I don't know if it makes sense to go into like the technicalities of it. I'll just give like a high level overview of what we've done. So we've kind of scoped out how we've been thinking at a technical level of integrating this kind of functionality into the system in the backend. This is a lot of backend work. It's a lot of working with our data structures, working with our accounting, and getting these things in place so that you can natively get these currencies out as you're doing transactions. And what that means is that, like, if you're using right now, if somebody's using the point of sale that FaBu designed, they can denominate, hey, I want to get, X, like X, however much of whatever currency, but when it lands in the Bitcoin Beach wallet, it still lands as sats, and you can still only see it as USD, because that's how it's kind of set up. So what we want to do is kind of pull that into the entire flow. When you go through your transaction history, you'd see things kind of denominated in whatever you choose. And the way we're thinking of doing that is similar to how Moon has done it. So it's that there's two, well, so I kind of describe it two ways that you can do multiple currencies. One is to just store it in a base amount. So like, let's say every transaction has a sats amount, and then whatever, like, let's say I did a transaction a month ago, but I'm looking at my transaction history now. Whatever the conversion rate of the currency is that I want to see it in, it would just apply that current conversion rate to all historical transactions, which, with the way Bitcoin's price works is not always useful. So the way we're thinking of it is to record the price at the time of transaction in whatever currency you've chosen, and kind of stick that along in the transaction. So if you're going through your transaction history list, let's say, for example, this week, I'm at home in El Salvador. Oh, no, let's say I'm at home in Guatemala. I'm using Quetzales this week. I do transactions. I see transactions coming up in Quetzales. Let's say next week I travel to El Salvador and I switch to USD. Whatever transactions I do there will be denominated in USD and will be pegged to that USD price at the time of the transaction. So you'd see sort of a mixed list. You'd see, like, whatever base you're using, you'd see, okay, they were all, they're fixed amount of sats, but whatever currency they were converted to at the time, that's what you'd be seeing kind of reflected in the transaction history. So yeah, this kind of just scopes out. There's a fair amount of work still to be done. We've started the work already. We've planned a lot of it. So it's kind of like we know what needs to be done. We've designed the solution for it. We know kind of how the architecture looks. We started implementing it. So there's reference code. There's a path forward, but now it's just kind of go through and complete that. So what this SU scopes out is what has been done already and what we think needs to be done still, and the different stages of progress they're in. And I guess now it's kind of to decide, I guess, what how we prioritize it, how we get it implemented with all the different tasks we have, which is not something I can speak to. I guess it's more like our engineering priorities and what we're trying to accomplish and what resources we have available. But this is kind of where we are right now in terms of at least understanding the problem, understanding where we want to be, and understanding how we can potentially get there. So yeah, that's kind of what this write-up captures. So yeah, I'm not sure if anybody has any questions based on all of that, but yeah.
Guys, I know I know I add a lot of comments and suggestions, but one of the reasons that it was difficult to choose the Bitcoin Beach wallet was because it didn't have the Quetzal, but I chose it because of the benefits over that. And it seems as if having the ability to have all currencies at the beginning, because you're always trying to catch up to the demand versus just have the optionality of all currencies, seems to make a lot more sense if it's easy enough to implement versus Quetzal, USD, Rand, whatever the Peruvian currency is. Anyway, just a comment.
Yeah, and to respond to the comment, like the optionality of having transactions, like it doesn't change. That based on location thing is an active thing. It's not like if you move it, it automatically changes. It's something you would actively go and set as your default currency. So you could totally leave it as whatever default currency you want. It's not a location-based thing. But yeah, it's kind of like just having the optionality of changing it. So if you're somebody that never wants to change their home currency, you never have to, and the only thing you would ever see are sats and Quetzales. But yeah, that's kind of the feature. It's kind of like it gives you the optionality, but you're not forced into that optionality.
Arvin, I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't clear, but right now the example is the Real, the Rand, Quetzal, and Sol, and USD, obviously, versus having all currencies that you can do this. Did I miss something, or is it going to have all currencies?
It's going to be the goal is all currencies. So
got it. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. That was my initial to start at the discussion, but the actual GitHub issue for this is about all currencies. Yeah. And I know we're coming up around time. I didn't expect us to, hammer through a ton of detail around this, but I did want to get, since we had some folks on the call, again, FaBu, people that are thinking, people from different communities that, that this multi-currency is important to. I did want to have Arvin bring that up, and so I think I'll open up for any last comments. The last thing I'll say is I was just talking to Mili. There is a hackathon starting in 2 days. So if anybody on this call is inspired to work on anything you saw today, like let us know. We'll be we're really excited about all of it. And then as a personal note, I appreciate everybody taking the time to join today and have really great discussion. So any final comments or questions either on currency or the cash register, or should we take it offline and move it over there?
I just want to add, if you want to get in touch with the Galoy team, we are currently moving our workspace to MetaMost, and you can find it at chat.galoy.io and create an account with your email address and be in touch with all the team members and everyone who's working on it from the wider open source community. And also feel free, if you want to create a room there, you can do that as well. And yeah, start building on side projects that are related.
I think the idea of scoping the price to the Bitcoin price as it was when the transaction happened makes a lot of sense. If you knew that you sold a $5 item at your business frequently every single day, you would expect to go into your transaction list and see it say $5 up and down the list, and that would be kind of scary if you looked at that list and it suddenly said 375, 223, all that. So I think the idea makes sense. Having said that, it'd probably be good if there's some kind of way, on the UI level to, be able to tap on that transaction and get some more metadata and says, okay, at the time it was made, it was $5. Now, because you accepted it over Bitcoin rails, it's now $3.23. So good to have, I think, that information available if the user wants to, dig deeper. But it seems like a sensible default to have it, in the transaction list display what the price was at the time of purchase. That's my initial opinion.
Yeah, we had a complaint about that today, about the fact that the price of the coffee wasn't reflected accurately in the Bitcoin Beach wallet. Well, it's because the price of Bitcoin went down. So having some sort of peg of what it cost at the time of purchase that's a great point.
Awesome. Well, hearing no other comments, I think we can conclude the call, and we'll be posting it. We'll be posting it up live, as Kemal mentioned, chat.galoy.io to continue any of these conversations. Thanks to Stephen and some of the Bitcoin design folks who are here. There's also a merchants channel in Bitcoin design where we're kind of part of the bigger community of people trying to design good experiences from a merchant perspective. And so, just a couple places to either learn or provide feedback and resources. With that, we'll reach out next time we have something to share, and have a great week.